Welcome back, everyone, to my weekly Dragon Oracle card series. So I do appreciate you all being patient with me as I've been traveling. I did pull this card with the intention that it would be for this full week, so starting on October 12th and then moving through into next week, as my travels may not afford me an opportunity to pull a card for October 19th. So, for the week of October 12th, 2025, into the following week next week, the Dragon Oracle card is the Air and Fire Dragon. So these dragons, remember, this actually came through a couple of months ago, and this is the second time that a card has come through a second time for this series, and Spirit and Dragons are letting me know that it's simply an opportunity to go deeper with more intention in a more multifaceted way with the messages that come through, going deeper with them, further integration of the messages that come through. So with these air and fire dragons, we are expanding our creative energies. We are harnessing our creativity and excitement and enthusiasm, and we are communicating our passions. So if you notice, when I did pull this card, I kind of paused and meditated on this image for a bit. And the wings of this dragon, you'll notice they're depicted in a similar way that we often see angels' wings depicted, or, like archangels' wings. And so the message here is these dragons want us to know that we've got the support of those beings that exist in that realm. So our ascended masters, our archangels, those star beings and such, they are here to support in addition to the dragons. And then if you look here on the other side of this card, you'll see this volcano here, and you'll see the lava flowing up from the earth here. So this message here is that in addition to that angelic realm, we also have the elementals that are supporting us. So those are the dragons, those are the fairies and the unicorns and the Pegasus and all of those beings and creatures and energies that support the earth. So they are also here to support us. So we've got both of those things. The fire here represents the passion, the enthusiasm, the excitement, what really gets us excited and gets us going. And so the dragons do not want us to be bashful with that. You'll see that the sparks from the fire are flashing up into the sky, into the air. The other message here, as I was meditating on this image, is as we are expressing ourselves, as we are inviting and asking for the support from our team, whoever that is on our team, our energetic team, so our ancestor guides, our ascended master guides, our animal spirit guides, whomever it is that we have on our team, as we are inviting their support and asking for their help for us, they are taking our messages, they are hearing us, they are hearing our call, and they are helping to transmute that energy of our desires into a more higher frequency that is more attuned with this next level of ascension that we are all in, and therefore we are going to be better able to, as they send that energy back to us, they've kind of cleansed it for us, scrubbed it up a bit, taken out the released the doubts, the fears, the hesitancies, the trepidations, and they've sifted it into the pure essence of the desire, the goal, the passion, the enthusiasm, the excitement that we are wanting their support with. So they're sending that energy back to us, nice and squeaky clean, so to speak, so that we are better able to absorb and integrate that energy into our lives, and then move that into creative expression. And creative expression here is not just your arts, like the world of the arts. So it's not like being a painter or a writer or an illustrator or a singer or a dancer. Yes, it includes all of those things. But in this message, creative energies are actually the driving energy that allows for us to simply express. Our life as we live it is a creative expression. What we choose to say, do, wear, present to the world, that is in and of itself our creative expression. Any time that we are manifesting a desire, a passion, an enthusiasm, we are using that creative energy. And everybody has this creative energy. So it's not something that we have to be concerned about becoming a master of, so to speak. You don't have to be a realist painter in this message to connect in with that creative energy within yourself. So this is a very exciting card to pull again. The dragons are recognizing that we are at a place where we can really go deeper with this. So the air also in this air and fire dragon also represents our voice. Our voice carries out into the air, into the ethers, into the world. So the dragons want to remind us to keep that in mind and to not edit ourselves for the sake of our audience. Yes, be mindful of the audience and the context and the circumstance, but really fine-tune and hone in on how you express yourself, and is the way that you used to express yourself. Have you been choosing your words carefully? Have you been, again, editing because you are anticipating that the audience that you're speaking to needs to hear what you have to say in a particular way? So the dragons in spirit are really encouraging us to take a look at that over the next couple of weeks, this week and next week and beyond. But take a look at that and do some self-reflection on how we are literally and figuratively speaking our truth, how we are walking our path, and make sure that we're not adjusting to accommodate if it's not in alignment with our truth. So, just trying to remember if there was any other messages that came through. Yeah, just underscoring. They really want to underscore the fact that since we are in this next stage of ascension, I started talking about this a few cards ago, the dragons that came through in the celebratory manner to acknowledge that we've reached the next level of ascension. I think that was Kuan Yin's pink dragons, but I'm not entirely certain. Oh no, I don't think it was Kuan Yin's pink dragons. Anyhow, we are at this next stage of our ascension process as humanity, as humans having these, as spirits having these human experiences. Again, the things that are happening with the cosmos, with the planets, in astrology. Again, I'm not an astrologer, but Pam Gregory is one that I do like. And so she's talking about now these things that are going on an energetic level, planetary level. The energies are changing, the frequencies are rising, and whether or not we are conscious of it or not, we as humans are impacted by that in a positive way. It may sometimes seem not so positive because as our vibrational frequency rises, it stirs up those lower frequencies of doubt, frustration, fears, judgments. And so when that stuff gets kind of kicked up to be released, it does kind of kick up the dust a little bit until we're able to let it go. The preconceptions, the inherent biases. So not only those that are reflected from us to others, but from ourselves to ourselves internally as well. So that's what's happening as the vibration is rising. And since we are in this next stage of ascension, the air and fire dragons, again, they're recognizing this opportunity that we are able to connect with them. The veil is thinner. We can see them, we can sense them, we can know them, we can feel them, we can hear them in our own unique ways. And they are waiting in the sidelines as our cheerleaders. They're always there. All of these dragons are always here in the dimensions that they reside. And so waiting for our invitation to bring them along on our journeys. So here we are with this opportunity to go deeper. Now, my name is Gia, and I am an intuitive. I'm a psychic energy reader and healer. And if you would like to tap in and tune in a little deeper to the energies of these air and fire dragons or any of the other dragons in my series, I would love to offer a reading for you. It would be a personalized reading just for you. The series is intended for the larger group of folks who are watching, who will be watching, but any reading that I do for an individual is, of course, specific to your energy and what your spirit wants to bring through for you and what the dragons want to bring through for you. So if you do reach out to me this week, within this next week into next week, I will offer a discount on that reading for you on the air and fire dragons. And we can schedule it anytime, okay? So the other part of this series is reading symbols. So if you've been following symbols in my practice, I am a student of Psychic Mastery, Intuitive Mind with Nancy Rebecca. I got my certification through her program and I continue to study with her. Symbols we use in our practice as a way to kind of consolidate energy that we want to take a look at, see if it is something that needs to be would be helpful to shift out of our energy field if it's no longer in alignment, if it's outdated energy, or it could also be an affirmation. Sometimes symbols do come through as affirmations. So I am going to pause the recording and take a look at a symbol that the air and fire dragons want to pull through for us. And by clearing and healing symbols, again, we move that energy out of the way. We release it so that it is no longer in the mix of our natural energy signatures. We all have natural energy flows, just like blood flows through our veins. We have an energetic signature, an energetic anatomy that are working, even if we don't see it, even if we are not aware of it. So moving, clearing, and healing a symbol just provides an opportunity to drain, release, dissolve the energies that might be like clogging up the gears, so to speak. So I'll go ahead and pause the recording, and I'll be back, let you know what the symbol is and the messages that came through with it. Okay, I'm back, everyone. So this was cool. So the symbol that came through is actually a pair of metal knitting needles. And as the knitting needles were creating this piece of knit material, as it's being created, something's pulling at that one piece of yarn and it's unraveling as it's being created. So the message from Spirit here is twofold. So the first part of this message is that Spirit wants to challenge us to reframe the definition of Spirit wants us to take a look at reframing how we look at expending our creative energy relative to the outcome, relative to the outcome that we may be desiring from what we are creating. So Spirit wants us to think a little bit differently about that. So the energy that was released with this symbol is the energy of like, well, if I'm creating it and something's unraveling it as I'm creating it, why is it even worth it? Is it even worth it to keep knitting if as I'm knitting, something's unraveling it? What's the point? I'm wasting my time, right? So that's the mindset that Spirit and the dragons want us to shift. So if we look at being souls having human experiences, nothing is ever really stagnant, right? Energy is always in flow, energy is always in motion. So when we create something from a place of service, of being of service, we are not attached to a stagnant outcome. So Spirit wants us to reimagine that whatever that is unraveling what you are knitting, what's on the other end of that, right? What is the intention on the other end of that? Is that creative process that you are moving through to create this thing, is that a hospice service that you volunteer for? And the folks that are unraveling the gift of your creativity, of your enthusiasm and your passion and your excitement, they are the recipients of that beautiful gift of yourself. And so they are that cyclical part of receiving. So it is not in vain. It is not in vain. What you create, you don't want it to just sit there and not have anybody appreciate it or benefit from it. You want it to be out in the world. So that's the reframe that the dragons and Spirit want us to think about with this. It's not going into a void with the intention when we really focus on our intention of wanting to be of service, wanting our gifts and creativity to be received and utilized. We don't want it to just sit there. We don't want to create a beautiful warm sweater that nobody wears. So that's the analogy there. And that as we continue to create, there will be, from that space and place and intention, as we continue to use that creative energy from that place and space, there will always be something, someone, some experience or circumstance on the receiving end of that that will be in gratitude of what it is that you're creating. Now, the other side of this, the other part of this message is this is relative to ourselves as well. So when we are trying to create a perfect environment, a perfect situation, a perfect circumstance for ourselves, and it doesn't seem to be getting anywhere. I've been trying, for months to lose weight, and it's not happening, and what's going on. So here's that perpetual, knitting, where it's just going into, something's pulling on that yarn, and it's just unraveling, and it's not getting anywhere. So the challenge is to reframe the intention of where that's coming from. Do I want to lose weight because I want to look a certain way in certain kind of clothing so I can appeal to a certain particular person or circumstance and serve a sense of insecurity about my appearance, my beauty? Or do I want to lose weight because I will have an opportunity for my body's organs to operate in a more healthy way? Do I want to lose weight? Is the goal losing weight to begin with? Perhaps the challenge is, what am I consuming that is causing my physical presentation? And is that something that needs to be changed? How is my physical body functioning? Perhaps the challenge is for me to reframe that in that way so that I can consider, okay, I want my body to function well, and when my body is functioning well, when my organs are working properly, when I'm fueling them with the proper nutrients that actually encourage them to function in the way that they were intended, then my physical body will readjust and become the shape and form that it needs to be for me. And it's not about the pounds on the scale. So these are the messages that are coming through with the air and fire dragons. I'm really looking forward to seeing how these messages manifest for me in the next couple of weeks, and please do feel free to share any experiences or thoughts or questions that you may have about me or this series or these dragons. I'd be happy to read your comments and answer any questions that you have. All right, thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time.